just asking, why is our town burnt down? Why are our families' houses gone? And if you can explain that to us in a logical, reasonable way, we'll accept it. But right now, there is no explanation, right? All I see in the newspaper is two sides arguing from what I saw on Civil Rights or whatever that magazine is, newspaper, Civil Beat, and then the other side was the Guardian putting out stuff. But then I'm hearing stuff on the other side, and I'm like, hey, somebody's spinning this story. People are using this for their advantage politically, and it shouldn't be done.
That's right.
It shouldn't be done at all. And that's all I'm saying. Whether they are doing this, they should not be doing this for political use, either on pro-Kanaka side or the other side. We just got to get this thing, and it should be transparency in this. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
I have 3 items that I'm testifying on. My name is Justin Huey. I am a teacher, a third grade teacher from the burned down King Kamehameha III Elementary in Lahaina, and I am testifying on my concerns of the governor's emergency proclamation that happened 3 weeks prior to the fire, and how it suspended 7 state statutes, of which exonerated everything that you guys are in charge of. Covers county organization administration. Chapter 46, collective bargaining was rescinded. School impact fees, collective bargaining was rescinded. And to my knowledge, this was the first emergency proclamation in the country that didn't have a preceding incident. Normally it's like a hurricane, boom, we got an emergency proclamation. But this was just, from my knowledge, was just to streamline development on Maui, and it is allocated all decision-making power to one person, the housing officer of the governor, Nani Medeiros, who's unelected, who can trump every single thing that you do and everything that you say and every item that we cover without any input from the community, without any public discourse, without Sunshine Law. Before I go to my, tomorrow, I love what you said, Lahaina's not for sale, please include us, but I don't see that happening. And I was able to meet with Nani Medeiros. I graciously invited her into my home in order to speak with teachers from the burned down King Kamehameha III Elementary and their own homes. And they're moving forward with they're meeting with developers, private landowners, and not a lot of community unless you know how to maneuver correctly. So before I go to my next item, I would just like to ask each council member to let me know, are you in favor of this emergency proclamation that takes away Sunshine Law, collective bargaining, all your power in decision making? I would like it if you did me a kindness, and before I go on to the next item that I want to testify on, who's in favor of that? Because I have serious concerns.
Mr. Huey, we don't have discussions at this point. We're just taking testimony. But I'm sure each member will be happy to respond to you on their own.
All right, so can we end this item and go to the next item?
Sure, please.
I was asked to start a teacher work group with HSTA on housing, and I was able to get people that were able to talk to Nani Medeiros, and they really need, I would love to see you pass a resolution on foreclosures, mortgage evictions, subsidized rentals. There's a lot of different things happening right now. Like there's one teacher that lives on this side, but had 3 other jobs besides teaching in Lahaina and has a $4,000 mortgage. So his house didn't burn down, but he's going to lose his house if something isn't done quickly. A different teacher who's had their house burned down moved over here and is trying to buy a house over here, but other investors are trumping her. And I just can't say enough about my concern over the fact that we have streamlined development without any community input, without Sunshine Law, without public announcements, without meeting notices. I just can't say enough. Everything that you do can be trumped by one person who's unelected and has no community input. And for me, I just think that, I wouldn't know why. She also said that she met with 4 council members and they were in complete agreement with the emergency proclamation. So that means there's 4 council members here, allegedly, that she stated are in agreement with getting rid of sunshine law, collective bargaining, school impact fees, and Chapter 46. And it's like, my question is, why did you run if you're not going to step up to the plate when we need you the most? And this needs to go. This needs to go right now. This is disaster capitalism of $5 billion are coming to Maui, and sticky fingers are here to take it all and develop everything without any input. Lahaina needs to decide what happens in Lahaina. But it's not just there, it's everywhere. Anything you do on this island can be trumped by one person. And more people need to be standing up and saying that this is not how government works. This is not how we teach our children how government works. And this cannot move forward.
And now we're going to fast forward to today. The Maui Tenants Association has a hotline. We've been receiving call after call of people who are being asked to be evicted by their landlords. People who are being displaced during a time of emergency when their house was like the only house standing in their neighborhood. And despite the fact that that's not supposed to be able to happen, not only are they still experiencing it, our renters here aren't even aware of what the law is. I would ask each council member to take stock. How many renters do you have in your district? And how many of them are being threatened with eviction simply because the owner of the house realized that their investment is no longer a sound investment? If you have the one standing rental in Lahaina, and some of you might have actually seen this going around on social media, it was a unit with 9 tenants in it. And just a handful of days after what happened in Lahaina, their landlord tried to evict them, stating that he had talked to the mayor about setting up a command hub. Well, multiple people called the mayor, and that couldn't be corroborated. We reached out to the tenant and let him know, hey, I know you're freaking out right now, but he actually cannot kick you out. So breathe. These are people undergoing immense trauma, regardless of whether or not their rentals are still standing, and some of them are not. Many of them are not. We know that. This body will need to stick its neck out. In affordable housing, we talk about affordable rentals, but we don't really talk about renters' rights. We don't really talk about renters' stability and how renters need to remain housed. We don't talk about how many parents are renters, how many children are in houses that are rentals. And upcountry currently, I rent, and through no fault of my landlord, I have no safe water, amongst many people I know. A woman who was off of Ainakula, a small family, had to evacuate. And their property manager had the nerve to say, well, when they came back, because their house was filled with ash, that they didn't deserve...
3 minutes.
I'll finish up. That they didn't deserve to still remain in the property because they left the windows open when they were evacuating. They're being harassed. The landlords who have the gumption and the gall, the nerve, and the lack of empathy to push evictions on their tenants right now do not care. And I will say that community has shown up first and foremost in this disaster. I think we all can agree on that. But government bodies need to catch up. Renters deserve stability just as anyone else. And with everyone displaced from Lahaina, at this point, after the emergency proclamation is gone, you can charge whatever you want for a rental because the demand is so high. Please consider us. The Maui Tenants Association will not stop fighting for Maui's renters. We are here for you. If you're listening to this, 808-444-1119. We have a hotline for you. Please call us. We are standing for you. We are not going to lay down. And I hope that this body, especially in areas that have been affected and areas that haven't been affected, stick your neck out for us because we're going to ask you to do it. So
My cell, or you can call my office.
yeah, I've got both those numbers. Thank you.
Work in this crisis. A lot of work for you guys. My name's Anthony Sands. I own a company called Above Earth. We offer quick setup, sustainable, off-grid, temporary and long-term housing that's International Building Code approved, hurricane, and earthquake and seismic, and also fire. We can set these up on unimproved land anywhere in the state of Hawaii in 24 to 48 hours, and we respect the land. By sustainable, I mean no external power.
You ain't doing no labor
sewer,
and
no septic
fat fuck.
needed, no external water. Nothing comes in or out of the ground. That's why we call it above earth. We can scale this very quickly. Within 60 days, we'll be shipping. We can ship hundreds of units. We can move the units when The need form is complete.
No, your
They're
budget
nice
asked to
houses,
move the
10,000
money
square
to
feet
do
minimum.
that.
They can have kitchens and everything, so it's a semblance of a house. We can set them on any soil, 10% gradient. We support the Maui Accounting Code 16.105.2.1 and the Resolution 23-194 to help speed your healing process. We appreciate your knowledge and your background and listening to everyone and everything when you make your decisions. Please let me know how we can help you and your constituents recover more quickly. If you have any questions, I'm here
Thank you.
on this project for many years and have very, very good success rates. Our water follows the Swedish purity standards for water, which is one of the highest purity standards in the world.
I'm here to testify on 23-194. I'm so sorry. 20 years of testifying and bringing education to this community. Councilmember Paulson, your words, your eloquent words on inclusion are something that I think everybody in this room understands. Shirayamana is intimately involved with and has worked tirelessly for inclusion, and that those who are in the positions are intimate in those moments and have to be at the table. And throughout this new crisis, Shirayamana's voices again have been eliminated because we have the roadmap to what is going to happen to so many of these people in Lahaina. Many people are not going to recover. And there's no systems in place currently to help them from falling into this despair. I come today to request that the mayor walk back his policy as of 7/20, his policy on addressing unsheltered residents in Maui County. I ask that you heed the comments of many of the previous testifiers, which indicate the ability to eliminate the wisdom that is in this community. So reverse that policy. I am working right now so that individuals who are living unhoused do not have their property and their items removed and destroyed as we speak, because that is happening. And so anybody who falls into this, get ready for how the county's about to treat you, okay? And they're gonna eliminate who you are, and they're just gonna call you a success because they removed a pile of items that they call trash, or they removed your vehicle you're living in because you don't feel safe enough to leave it. So get ready. It's not a pretty picture. I'm gonna change the way I approach this council. I have done my best to be patient and to ask for inclusion, and I'm not happy with 3 minutes being limited to 20 years of experience in 3 minutes. As the national and international press continue to ask the questions, this community has to ask those questions too. I'm working with easily 20 people that got housed during this as collateral damage. And their lives are now, most of them are they're even worse off now. I'm coordinating hospital visits because of the way that the system and the governor has imposed rules without any dialogue with any of the people who are doing the work on the ground. It's unacceptable. It's harmful. We're wasting a lot of money and we're harming lives. I have no good news today. I love to say I have good news you can use, but I can't call picking somebody off the ground in a near-death situation good news anymore. I can't do it, and I can't champion it. I need your help. I need every one of your help. Every one of you needs to stand up where you are in these situations and these laws and these proposals, and you need to say it clearly so we know and we can address it. Thank you for your time.
Members, questions? If not, thank you.
I forgot to say, did I mention that I think I have to legally say I'm a commissioner on the Healing Solutions for Homelessness. I hate missing protocol, and I want you to know that they canceled their meeting this month along with the Maui Homeless Alliance, okay? Okay? How's that helping? I'm just saying, just asking. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Tourism drives our economy and has for years. Even local businesses, whether they think they are not affected, if our tourism workers are not making money, we are forced to choose how we spend our money in the community. And that means shopping at Costco versus farmers markets. That means cutting our own hair instead of going to our local barber. That means us cooking at home versus supporting our local eateries, or maybe being forced to move out of our island home. You see how all of this affects our island, and it all affects us. Carolee is not only deserving of this, but is the most generous person I know who has done so much for our community and continues to do so. This permit has been in progress for going on 3 years, and in order to support our community and our island, we need to proceed on with obtaining this permit.
Aloha. Aloha, esteemed Council Chair, Council members. My name is Colin Aquino, and in the interest of disclosure, I'll advise you that I'm a battalion chief in Maui Fire Department and the commanding officer for Oiluku, West Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. I didn't really come here with a plan to speak. I just kind of saw the sign up and did, and I wanted to just share some of my, and so advise that I'm speaking on my own behalf, not on behalf of the Maui Fire Department. But I just want to share some of my general impressions of what's happened over the last 10 days from a unique perspective. And the one thing that I will say and share is that you have all seen that our community response has been tremendous. It's been incredible. And especially with Councilmember Tamara Paulton leading the way in West Maui, we've set up a lot of good tools in place that can continue. What I would ask is again, not speaking as a member of the Lahaina community, I'm honored to be a servant and to be a guest in their community for most of my fire career. But what I would like to share is, from my point of view, is what we in Lahaina need for responders, for the community, is we need to be accessible. We need our council members, we need our politicians, our leadership to be visible and accessible to our people right now. That is what is going to drive the most hope and going to build the best relationships. I know for the council members here, each of you have staff. I would ask that you either actively, not saying that you haven't, again, I have a very narrow view of the incident only from where I've been for the last 2 weeks. But what I would ask is that you really look at the opportunity to embed with our local communities in Lahaina. You're in a hugely unique time in our county history where really we need you more than we've ever needed you. And that's the truth. Our people, our responders, the community needs you more than we've ever needed you. So I know you have staff. What I would ask is, like Uncle Archie's house, you can embed staff in his daily briefings every day. You guys can get out. You guys, with permission of my boss, of course, are welcome to jump in my BC vehicle and ride around with me anytime you want. For perspective, to see the community, I try to get out to the pods as much as I can, get out to the medical units, KP, volunteering stuff. So really that's the impression that I want to leave is, as much as possible to be visible and accessible to everyone as best you can right now. I know that's asking a lot because we're already asking so much of you, but the best you can do will take any of it. And so the last thing I'd like to say is when you chose to run for these seats and when you were elected, you chose to be representatives of the people you serve. The way our elections work, those people include Lahaina. And also, I would ask for not just Kanaka, non-Kanaka council members here. When you chose to be elected, you didn't just choose to serve the people, you chose to serve the land because that is what Hawaii is. And you're in a unique place where Hawaii, the land and the people are one. So please keep that in mind. And again, much aloha for all the work that you guys have been doing and that we will ask in the future.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Lang. I'm the CEO of Cafe LA Restaurants here in Maui. We've been a family-owned business operating for 26 years since my mother and father-in-law, Dana and Michael Pastula, started it in Makawao in 1997. I'm here today representing our family in support of the Higashino family and their struggles with permitting for their White Orchid Beach House in Makena, and just asking for your consideration. Cafe LA Restaurants employs approximately 250 people, and this partnership we've had with the Higashino family is absolutely vital to our operations. Since the first days, we partnered with her, and they provide catering services for hundreds of events in Maui. Carolee and White Orchid Weddings has won multiple local and national awards for their outstanding events, as well as their business ethics. She's a pioneer in this industry. We've already seen a dramatic slowdown in business. We've made layoffs, and there's uncertainties with us and other partners in our industry. We're doing our very best to keep people employed. We have random projects. We're supporting people in the
Super sensitive and challenging times, and people are going to be ready at different times. And I don't know when I'll ever be ready. And to the testifier up there who asked, what's going on with Waine'e Church, right? Waine'e Cemetery. That's private. That's a private cemetery. If you want to help us, donate to us. Where were you? Why were you asking the questions now? When our committee over there slaves away in that church and in that cemetery on Saturdays. Old people in the sun. No money. Help us now. Come now. You want answers? Meet us down there when it opens. Oh, I went off script. So sorry.
Hundreds dead or missing, thousands displaced, and though the fires are contained, an economic tsunami is coming. Now, the county faces a precipitous drop in property tax revenue. Its bond rating may suffer, and the cost of borrowing may increase, and the county potentially faces billions of dollars in liability. That means fewer resources to help thousands of families that need assistance. It means less money to build the affordable housing they desperately need. At the same time, the state's finances will also suffer with impacts to the general excise tax, the transient accommodations tax, and income tax as thousands of Maui residents and other business owners lose their jobs. Potentially, this disaster is going to slide our state into recession. Now, hopefully, President Biden and the federal government make good on their promise to assist with the recovery, but rest assured, it does not matter how much money we throw at this problem. If we keep the current set of exclusionary zoning laws on the books, local families and Native Hawaiian families will continue to leave Maui as refugees, as exiles. Maui's exclusionary zoning policies are rooted in racism and explicitly designed to make housing unaffordable. Minimum lot sizes, minimum parking requirements, limits on accessory dwelling units, these policies were working exactly as designed before the fires, making housing unaffordable for working families. And unless this council takes action and reforms these exclusionary zoning laws, among others, Maui will become more and more unaffordable. In the wake of this disaster, we need to ensure that the survivors have affordable housing, and we need to make good on the promise to the citizens of Maui County that all residents will have affordable housing. We cannot afford to wait. We cannot say no can. We need change now. Housing Hawaii's Future, the organization I help lead, stands ready, alongside other local groups like the Hawaii Zoning Atlas, Hawaii EMB, to provide and help counsel with possible solutions to our affordable housing shortage. And we're counting on you and your leadership. And know that you are not alone. Please, be well, stay strong, and let's work together to make sure that all of our people have affordable housing. Thank you.
Members, questions? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next. Aloha Council Chair and Council members. Sorry, excuse me, this is going to be a little tough for me. It's uncomfortable. My name is Shannon E. testifying on Resolution 23-194. I came here to listen with no intention to speak. I, as well as my ohana, are survivors of the Lahaina fire that happened on 8/8. I left my house with just the clothes on my back. Although my ohana and I lost our house in the fire, our Lahaina hometown is and will always be there. My kupuna and their spirit continue to surround us there. I feel, as a Kanaka and 10th generation mo'o of the Lahaina community, it was important to come up and share my mana'o as someone directly affected. First and foremost, mahalo to all of the community members who have been and continue to work tirelessly to help our kaya udu. I ask that
Aloha Council members. So I was very affected by the testimony of a resident. I wanted to come here today because my family, thank you, my family had to evacuate to Nupiwi. And thankfully they're safe, but many of our loved ones are not. And so
Can you speak into the mic, please? We need to get you on record.
I come before you today because my family they evacuated, they're safe. And they're accounted for, but many of our loved ones are not. And I wanted to come here today because there's a lot of things that are going to need to be adjusted. So I wanted to speak about in regards to 23-194. And then the help that needs to get to our people. So if anything should happen again, I do ask, because I was at the shelters on the first night, and then we wanted to get out to our people and the roads were closed. People could not get food, they could not get medicine for 2 to 3 days. We're not going to wait for Red Cross to go and get our people. We will get our own. I understand that there's emergency things that need to happen, but if in any way possible for future things, if a group can be made to have vetted people in that group so they don't have to say, can I please get to my family? Can I please get to my friends? Parents said, I don't live on the island, can you get to them? Can a group be made so that the people in this group are vetted, just in case if emergency crews have to take care of the fires or whatever is going on, there's a group that can bypass all of that and can get into our people. I ask them for the future. I ask right now because right now we're mortgage moratorium. I called the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, Brian Chatz's office. I know that we can do that, but right now I'm asking for a moratorium, or if we can push for that. People are still grieving. They're in shock. They don't even know how to fill out paperwork. Oh, please, can you go online and get your numbers? They don't know how to do that. They don't have access. They don't have internet. Half of those people, when they have to go get help, they evacuated, but they didn't know we have hubs at the Haina Gateway or in the PV. What are they going to do? Walk 30 minutes to get there? If there could be somebody to go in there to at least even on a Blair speaker, we're coming, something. But for the moratorium, I'm asking for that just so people can have a break to figure out what they do and assess a little bit. They're not in a mind frame to be able to have to think, how do I call my insurance? They can't even get through. And if we can have somebody to do that, and then ask if you guys can push for communication between agencies. I have community members that have been calling me. 3 minutes. Thank you. They've been calling me really quickly, and they're getting help from FEMA, they're getting help from other places, but they're being denied because the agencies are not talking to each other. So if you can do that, mahalo.
Folks are still in active mourning, literally trying to stay alive. And in that is a collective rage. And I don't say that lightly. There is a collective rage that a lot of this feels like a setup. A lot of this feels like, I'm not talking conspiracy theory like somebody went and lit the fire. I'm talking about this is the result of a decades and generations long conversation that West Maui has had with people in charge that this is going to happen. Between Miko and the power lines and the fire response and the water department not communicating to people that there is a problem with their water properly, between the sirens not going off, people are pissed, and it's justifiable. And in the face of all of that, these resilience hubs, whatever you want to call them, these Ohana hubs have been established quickly because of the relationships, of the ties in West Maui and outside of West Maui that are beyond government and agencies. And the feeling, the palpable feeling in the couple of days after this disaster that we are on our own. Nobody is coming to save us. We've been asking for help for decades and nobody's coming to save us. And so now we're going to feed in water and medicine ourselves. And now, a few weeks in, agencies and government people are starting to come in and be like, we have the answer, and we have these protocols that you have to follow, and here's our policies, and people are like, get lost. Why would I trust you after you put our tenants in this position, and after you left us for dead, and now you come in and you tell us how to do things? It's insulting. I'm not even from there, and I'm shaking with anger because I see it happen every day, and I just cannot handle. It's really hard to trust the agencies that put you in this very position to get you out of it. The same people that made the decision about water and electric and egress and getting in and out of Lahaina that trapped all these people are now the ones that are being asked to be trusted to build the solution. The other thing, if you're going to eat, you have to have a FEMA ID. Nobody is going to trust FEMA right now. So we have to establish something outside of FEMA that allows people to be verified of their need and get response. I have to say one more thing. I'm so sorry. The other big thing is our pace does not match the urgency of the situation. The urgency of the situation in the beginning was gasoline, water, food, and everybody was so slow. And now, all of a sudden, people are talking about rebuilding. Like, that's the most urgent thing. The most urgent thing right now is getting people in some kind of shelter where they know they're going to be there for a year. It's not going to be a home that's built on vacant county land. That could be, the urgency right now should be clearing out Airbnbs and non-essential units for people to live and catch their breath and mourn with their family so that in 6 months or a year from now, they can digest the conversation about what do we do next. The urgency about having this rebuild conversation when people still don't have roofs over their heads. They have 30-day vouchers for their Airbnb and they don't know where they're going to be in a month. That's urgent. People don't even have the space to talk about rebuilding because they don't know where they're going to be in 2 weeks. So this rebuilding needs to just hang on for a minute, and urgently this county can clear out things that are made for visitors and house people there, and the economy all around tourism on the west side, people should be paid those same good jobs to care for their own community at this point. And then we can talk about rebuilding. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
My name is Christine Borch. I guess you could say I'm a Kapuna. So I'm 61. I was living on 1 Street when it happened. I walked away with nothing except my dog. And I've been part of the human experiment ever since. First we were in Maui prep. They passed out toilet paper because they wouldn't let us use the bathroom. I guess we look like leprosy people to them in our dark skin. Then we went to Baldwin High. Now I'm at Royal Lahaina. We need help because we're being told by people from the mainland who are culturally insensitive to fill out papers that will give the America, which I am a forced American. I'm not a proud American. I am forced to be American in Hawaii. You're telling us to fill out this paperwork.
So you want American
so that
taxpayer money,
you can give us the
right?
least amount of money. All I've had since day one is $700. FEMA is fighting with SBA. I walked out yesterday because I'm hearing conflicting stories of what paper I should fill out. We need meetings in Lahaina. So many people, my employees, they're of Filipino ancestry, they're Filipino. They don't know how to fill these papers out. 4 out of 5 of us lost our homes, it was burned to the ground. We are only being told, stand in this line, sign here. What are we signing? Who is it benefiting, us or America? That's what I want to know. And I want to know when we get to go back to our home in Waimea. Maybe it's gone, but for reasons that I don't want to discuss, we need to go back there. Are you guys going to just scrape it all away and say disaster zone? And America's going to get what they want, their satellite city? Because this was planned years ago. It's now happening. And all the poor people, the homeless, the hardworking people of the hotels, the kapuna, we lost everything. So you could have your satellite city. This isn't fair. I feel like I was used. I feel like crap on the ground. This is not right, and we should not be treated this way. We're in a hotel, and we have no communication. I cannot watch the news. I don't know what's going on. I just happened to see on Facebook there's a meeting here. We couldn't even have our pastor come in and ask us if we need prayer in the very beginning, but Oprah could come in. Who is she? Who is she? They said, oh, she knows the governor. We didn't need her in there in Bowen High. Get her out. We don't know. We also don't need people like Kainashiki telling tourists don't come to Maui. Because some of us, thousands of us, work in the hotel industry. They pay our mortgage. They give us our medical. And the medical, besides accounting, is pretty good for somebody old like me. So don't go tell tourists don't come Maui because you're not speaking for us, the working people. You're speaking for yourself. Tourists come. We love you. We have aloha. You have gave us money through your donations. We're not saying don't come. Come. Because you will be helping us, the lower people. The grains of sand of Maui is what we are. We're not the ones living up in Laniapoku. Not one of those houses burned. Puamana is still there. Lahaina Shores is still there. Everything beyond the Civic Center is there. But the homes where we were working, where we're scraping, where we had less than $1,000 a month to pay for our basic needs of gas and food. We busted our ass. And this is what we get. Nobody called us. Our phones didn't work from 5 in the morning. The fire was not 10 o'clock when I went to work. The fire was still there. There was no water. Tell me if that's not coincidence. No water, no warning. And everybody talking about the satellite city before the fire. Lahaina gonna be a first satellite city. Well, hey, Jeff Bezos, you got what you wanted. Oprah, you got what you wanted. And the guy who owns the nut, you got what you wanted. Fuck us all over. That's what happened. We need help in Lahaina. Who's gonna come now and ask us, can I pray for you, Andy?
Thank you.
Can I help you with your paperwork? Because all we got so far was $700 and we don't know who to call or anything. It's culturally insensitive in that zone.
I'm not here, right? I'm here because I'm no stranger to disaster. As a disaster recovery consultant, we focus on the financial recovery, the people and public assistance, and the debris monitoring. And December 30th, 2021, my community in Boulder County, Colorado, undertook a very similar disaster. And by December 31st, it was the most destructive fire in state history. And it took 1,800 buildings down. And I fortunately was able to assist that community. So when I saw fires here, I jumped on a plane as soon as I could to provide whatever service I can. You know, if it's just a sounding board, if I could provide some best practices, you know, those type of things to make sure you can learn from other people's events. Every disaster is unique. I get that. I was able to put somebody in Public Works in touch with an engineer from Larimer County who had the largest fire in Colorado history, which I also worked 3 years ago, it was 2020. So I just wanted to make myself available for questions, whether it's here or later, to be able to provide whatever I can to help. I've been on debris task force, the state of Florida, after Hurricane Ian, spearheading the vehicle and vessel removal. You know, did the Oregon fires of 2020 in New Mexico, Permit Peak fire, their largest fire. So I presented on wildfire recovery at conferences and the FEMA Public Assistance Program and debris management. So again, just wanted to say hi, thank you. My heart goes out to your entire community because I've been there, unfortunately. So, mahalo.
Thank you, members. Thank you very much.
My name is Aimokuchi. I am actually a resident of Kuholilea in Kahoma in Lahaina. My family has been in Lahaina from time immemorial, as far as I understand, from my ancestry. The original homestead for our family was on Prison Street, and it was a kuleana tract that's still in our family down there. I understand it's burnt down. My grandfather's house, which was in Kilauea, Mauka, is also burnt down, that my cousins lived in, and my aunt's house is burnt down in that very same area. They're all homeless. I think some of them have gotten into hotels, but they're all looking for need, you know, in that place. My family, I'm speaking on behalf of the Maialua family, because that's our family from Lahaina. We basically want accountability of people who are responsible for this. So we have questions in regards to the electric company, why they never turned off the power that day, and they should be held liable for this. People should be held liable for this because this is gross negligence. This should be standard operating procedure that power should have been turned off. And people's lives have been lost because of that. Fortunately, in my family, we haven't lost anyone immediately, or my cousins and things like that, but many other friends have lost their family members. And so we want accountability of people, that electric company, the police. Why did the police block people from coming and exiting? They had lines of people lined on Front Street. We heard testimony from people on top of Facebook that said, and things that said that basically the police was blocking the road over there by Chart House, and that the lines was not down from Wahikuli yet. And hundreds of people were backed up there with people in their cars, and a lot of people lost their lives, from what I understand. And why is not the police officer that was over there? He should be investigated. That wasn't the only place, Kilauea, Mauka, where Halemaha Olu burnt down. I was told by people who escaped there on foot that the officer had blocked the road, people could not get out. My brother literally had to go cut the chain off of the old sugar mill camp area to let people out on the top of Kilauea, Mauka. And that's how people got out, because the roads were all blocked, because the police were blocking it. This is what I'm hearing. And we want accountability. It needs to be investigated by a third party that is not associated with the government. That is not associated. Investigators should come in and they should look at this. Right now there's gross negligence, possibly criminal negligence on this spot. People in Lahaina are angry, like other people have testified. We don't trust the government because of what has happened. I'm an attorney myself, and I question, there's so many things that are questionable that has happened here. And we want the trust to be restored in the government situation. And we need to have clarity, transparency on all these things. We were blocked out from coming back into Lahaina. I was blocked out several days. I could not come in. It was chaos. People was rioting at the stops. People told us it was fires, but my cousins told me it actually was riots going on over there, right? With the police officers families wanting to get in. It was bad craziness in the beginning. Now it's all kind of settled down, but we still don't trust the government. We're wondering what's on those documents for FEMA, you know, and I'm like, I don't know what's on the documents myself. And my cousins are asking me what should be signed, what shouldn't be signed. I said, I haven't seen any documents, I don't even know. And we're afraid to sign documents because right after that, the governor says, oh, I'm going to take the land. Right? He's talking about how the state wants to purchase all this land and come in and open it for the working class and also work for memorial and things like that. Who the hell does he think that he should get this land? This land belongs it to the people already.
Okay.
The government is liable for this, grossly negligent, at least if not criminally negligent, right? And they should clean up all that land, restore that land to the people who own that, because they failed here. They failed. The government failed.
Okay.
And then the last point is this. The water and the issue with that water, why all that water wasn't coming down that mountain. From what I understand, they had to go ask the cow farmers up the mountain about that. There's been arguments in Lahaina about water. I'm Hawaiian. I grow cow. I agree with water being supplied for cow and all that. But in one emergency, there's no excuse that the water didn't come down that mountain. And that the sea worm held that back. And if Hawaiian families are responsible for that too, because of their pressure on the government, they should be reviewed for that action too. And they shouldn't have to say that they have, to the point where it destroyed all of Lahaina. That's the other side of it. Because we're hearing half of Lahaina that agrees with this stuff, and the other half, now we speaking up, because our families are suffering from it, from those policies. And we need to start looking at those policies seriously. And like I said, I'm a kalo farmer. I grow kalo myself for my family. I also live off the land. I'm on land that has water coming down that valley. And I'm off the grid. But I don't agree with an emergency situation that thing caused this to have no water for the homes, and the fire is burning up the basin. And it's not West Maui land's fault.
Okay, well, you raised very good questions, but we have other testifiers as well.
Thank you. And we want accountability. We want accountability. Lahaina wants accountability.
Thank you. We have a question for you, sir. Can you come back? Member Rollins Fernandez.
Mr. Chimahal, for your testimony and for expressing that rage. My question is it your understanding that the Launiupuko irrigation system is connected to our fire hydrants that would have been used to put out?
From what I understand, and I'm not sure if my information is accurate, because it all comes through family and cousins. All right, I was told that West Maui land ordered the water to be taken so that it could go into the hydrants. It could go, and that the person from Seaworm actually said, "Oh, you got to ask permission from the cow farmers first before you do this." But West Maui land was like, "No, there's an emergency, and we don't care what happens. We want that water to go because there's a fire, there's an emergency, and it needs to do, and we'll deal with the fines later." From what I understand. That's what I was told to the grapevine. I don't know if that's official or not. So it's not West Maui land's fault. They were told, you gotta go ask the people up in Kauaula first. If you can go get the water out of there. That's ridiculous. That Seaworm should actually say something like that in the middle of an emergency.
I understand.
Seaworm is responsible, but the family that also put the pressure on Seaworm for this stuff over the past decade should be held accountable for this now. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. It's an emergency. People need water. That's common sense. Open the water. That's what the
Mahalo for your clarification, Mr.
Right?
Chi.
Yeah.
The diversion is not connected to the fire hydrants.
No,
The
but I heard it was
helicopters, I understand what you heard. I heard the same thing.
The whole reservoir up there was
And
actually
the fire department could not allow choppers to take water from the reservoir because of the 80-mile-per-hour winds. So, and I know you know that the CWAM deputy director is not more powerful than the governor.
Mm-hmm.
So if the governor wanted it, the governor could have ordered it.
I'm not blaming
Okay, let's have a
Mr.
debate.
Kaleo for this thing. I don't know. I don't know all the facts. All I know, this is what's being said in Lahaina. We want accountability. We want your message clearly put out and the facts put out so we know what we're really dealing with. Because I don't want lies either. You understand? I don't want lies from either side. We want the truth. That's all we're asking for. Okay? So I don't want to accuse people of things wrongly. And if you have the answers, put the answers out there.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you. And that's why I asked for a clarifying question, because in your testimony, you did accuse him. So I just wanted to share some information.
So I'm calling for all actions that the county takes to be trauma-informed. Maybe we need to bring in some specialists to train county staff and workers and even you folks about what it means to be trauma-informed so that we can hold a space for our people that acknowledges the grief, that acknowledges the anger, the pain, the suffering, the confusion, the suicidal ideations. I've been working with the Mauna Medics, which I co-founded in 2017, and we've been working as the medical branch of Maui Rapid Response to get services to the west side, to the places where they didn't have